Hi, Mr. Wong. This is Alan with Y&L Landscaping Company, and the pictures that you sent of the flooding in this backyard were very compelling. And I did come over and do an assessment of the yard, and I wanted to make this video to show you what I'm proposing to mitigate this situation to the best of our ability. So as you can see in the picture here, here's a part of the backyard. I wanted to draw your attention to the let me just pull a color up here. I wanted to draw your attention to this brush back here. There's brush growing along the back of the property. So the first thing that I'm proposing is that we remove this brush. Maybe not all of the trees, but certainly the ground cover, the scrub growth here, and some of the smaller seedlings. And this will allow us to do some grading in this area. What I'd like to do is grade this area down from this upper parking lot to create a slope coming down. And this will help us create a swale that's going to run across the whole backyard approximately in this area. The idea is to create a low point that we can collect water. So we will grade down to this point, and then from the back of the house, we will create a downgrade or a slope down to this swale area as well. This is the other side of the yard, so you would be able to see the same thing here. It would come across approximately in this area, the swale, and we would grade down to it this way to create that area. So let me get to another picture here. You can see from the rear of the property, we're talking about this brush being removed. This type of thing here to get all this ground cleared out. So moving on from that, the second phase is to excavate along this fence down to the swale area and install a French drain along the entire length of this fence down to the swale. And that would consist of us excavating down and out 12 inches, lining the trench with filter fabric, putting a perforated 4-inch pipe in the bottom of the trench, and then filling it to the top with drainage aggregate. This French drain would actually handle the flow coming down the hill and also coming from your neighbor's yard on this side, collect both surface water and groundwater and send it down to the swale area. We would then also pick up these two downspouts because there's a lot of water coming off the roof and collecting in the yard. We would do a curb cut right through the concrete here, run both of these lines through solid PVC pipe, trench into the ground, and run that out to the French drain piping that is along the fence. So we would take care of there's quite a bit of water that comes off this roof and collects in your yard. It's worth saying that I don't think this sump pump is really helping with your yard drainage problem. It looks to me the way it's configured is it's pulling water out of the house and pumping it just beyond your property line towards the retail center out there. So we have an opportunity to possibly use it a little bit, but most of the water will not tie into it. The problem is that we would have to run uphill to get to the sump pump to then blow it back out to the edge of your property line, at which point most likely it's going to flow back into your yard. It's not really a good system. So what I am proposing is there will be a swale that runs approximately like this across your yard. We're going to be excavating and putting in 4 dry wells, equally spaced along this area. And in between each dry well, we're going to put in a prefabricated section of French drain. The idea here is that we're going to direct water, all the water, into the swale area and from the French drain system to be stored in the flow wells and then percolate out into the ground. Uh, the flow well dry wells hold about 50 or 60 gallons of water. They're designed for the water to percolate out into the ground. We increase the capacity of those by surrounding them with sections of easy flow pipe, which will increase the capacity of each dry well and allow all of that water to drop into the dry wells and then percolate into the ground at the subsurface level and not collect on the surface. Additionally, from the end dry well on this side of the yard, we will be sending a pipe back up to um, this sump pump, run it into the side of the sump pump as an overflow for the system. So if the system were to completely fill up and overflow, um, we do have a way to have this water come back to here. Um, the problem is that it's going to have to come into the bottom of the sump pump because of the lack of slope. So we're not going to have a super amount of capacity. And then where this contraption actually daylights, it goes out to the edge of the property and then just dumps. Unfortunately, it dumps, as you can see in this picture, right out here. It doesn't necessarily go anywhere. So I don't want to overload it with water. So it's we're treating it as a backup. Additionally, while we're on this view, I want to try to create a berm along this area with additional soil. We'll stabilize it with seed and Curlex to get it stabilized and hopefully eliminate some of this water that is working its way down from this commercial property in the back here. It will also help facilitate our drop down to the swale area, which will be back here. So I believe that this solution will help to mitigate this problem in your yard. It's a big problem. It's a lot of water to move, and there's a lot of work to deal with it. There's really nowhere to send the water, so the dry wells are a good option. They're very well made. They're very well engineered. I'm sure you might have some questions about those. Feel free to reach out to me with questions on anything on the project. This will have a big impact in the yard. I have a lot of confidence that that this will allow your tenant to have a yard. I also have in the proposal to completely reseed the yard to get grass established, and also that will start to soak up some of that water and just make the ground a little bit more permeable, and you'll be able to have a yard back there. So please again reach out to me with any questions. I look forward to hearing from you, and please let me know how you would like to proceed. Thank you.